So this is right here. That's Mr. Fields. That's Baltimore County State. That's Baltimore County's attorney. And I testified in front of the Baltimore County. Baltimore County. I asked for my property back. I asked for them to prosecute Scott Shellenberger. All right, and Peter Francott got this. All right, I'm the victim here. I'm the victim here. This is Johnny Oleski asking for the Department of Justice to investigate my case. I put that toilet in front of the Towson Courthouse to stop the violence in Baltimore City and Baltimore County behind the war on drugs. Y'all talking about community in crisis? All right. You talk about community in crisis? That's Johnny Oleski. That's legal mail for federal investigation. And they've been blocking this. All right. He's been blocking this. Shows you how long he's been blocking this. All right. We're talking about white supremacy. We're talking about white supremacy in 2020. We're talking about the new face of old Jim Crow. Like I said, I was making a documentary about Baltimore County courts and the racist amendment courts. And these is the supporters of Shorty. All right. These are the supporters of Shorties. And I did this long before I got locked up in Towson. Long before I got locked up in Towson. Filed a misconduct complaint. And y'all ain't did nothing about that in 2019. Y'all had police came in my house, put guns to my head, threatened me. Y'all had police stop me out in Baltimore County. I got 911 calls. And I got Gov.O'Malley. Y'all charged me with terrorism. Y'all locked me up. And that goes to show your white supremacy and your Jim Crow justice. I'm not Emmett Till. I don't stutter when I talk. I was exposing y'all for this. Your judges, your lawyers that lock up Black Baltimore. And how you use your courts to do it. So I made a movie about it. Governor Hogan. Johnny Oleski. I got to reshoot all the footage that you stole from me. But I got a lot of the papers that I need. All right. That's Judge Turnbull. You reading that? Shellenberger. You see that? See who knew? So I'm going to call and leave a message.
Thank you for calling the Baltimore County Office of Law. The receptionist is unable to personally answer your call at this time. To directly reach a member of our staff by using a last name directory, please press 0. Otherwise, please leave a message after the tone. Thank you. Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Yes, this phone call is for Mr. Fields. My name is Dwayne Davis. I've testified in front of the county board on numerous occasions concerning my illegal incarceration and my kidnapping. Mr. Fields refuses, not just Mr. Fields, but the Baltimore County Council refuses to answer my request to have Scott Shellenberger incarcerated. I filed criminal charges over 2 years ago, and nobody wants to deal with the charges. Nobody wants to address it. Case number 171920585. I've testified, and Mr. Fields refuses to give me my due process and equal protections. I'm out $2.6 million in lost wages. Shellenberger knowingly lied to the grand jury and presented false evidence to the grand jury to get an indictment. Jim Crow justice and Jim Crow white supremacy in Baltimore County courts. We talking about racism in the courts. That's what this was all about. You refusing to prosecute Scott Shellenberger. You got 137 inmates that are held illegally because of Scott Shellenberger. Johnny Oleski asked for a federal investigation. Nobody's did nothing about it yet. That investigation into Scott Shellenberger. Johnny Oleski asked for this investigation in 2019. It's 2020. City, county, state, and federal levels. Denying me due process and equal protection is against the law. You're the lawyer for Baltimore County. You can't use your position of power to shield the racism and corruption in Scott Shellenberger's office. I recorded this phone call and I put it on Facebook. So I want the world to see what being black in Baltimore is. I also got the Baltimore County testimony that I testified in Baltimore County. Yeah, we directly asked you about being black in Baltimore. I directly told you about Dred Scott. And I directly asked you on county time in my testimony to answer these issues. I need a written response to my complaint. You have to respond to me in writing. Silence is consent. And like I said, 2020, I want justice. I want my property back. I want Scott Shellenberger prosecuted. I want Jake Davis, James Hammond, Paul Weinblatt prosecuted. You knowingly lied to the public and you're protecting corruption. You can't use your office to do that. Do your job or lose your job, because like I said, this phone call is videotaped. Also sent to the Department of Justice. Johnny Oleski's letter right here asking for the Department of Justice. Johnny Oleski's letter here, all right? You got that. You heard my testimony. You need to do your job.
To send this message, press pound or your message has been sent. If you would like to try an extension, you may do so now.
To dismantle the master's house, you got to use the master's tools. I got my paperwork in order. The state refused me access to the courts. You feel me? The state refused me access to the court. Federal investigation. All right. You took my property. Y'all committed the crimes. I'm just showing you the officials that ain't doing their jobs. I'm just showing you the officials that ain't doing their jobs. And Marilyn Mosby been knowing about this since 2014. She getting ready to take a hit. Her and her husband. Mike, check that.